Hello everyone, and welcome to another Design Deconstruct, where we deconstruct the initial experience of a game. What mechanics do they try and teach the player? How do they try and teach them? And do we think they're successful? Let's get started. So today we're going to take a look at ORI and the Blindforest, the definitive edition. So let's jump right in. I'm probably going to skip the intro because it's not really relevant to the areas we're looking at. I will say it's a very nice intro. Oh, and we can skip the whole prologue. So actually, I think I'm going to do that because while the prologue is nice, it's not really the focus of this. It's not really going to tell us much about the mechanics. Okay, so we've skipped straight to the actual start. I believe there's a little unskippable bit here. So straight away you're actually here with some UI stuff. It just pretty overtly tells you the game is saved, that's fine. And you've got some UI elements at the bottom. I don't know what those do yet. Again, this is a game I have played before in the past, but fortunately I have a terrible memory and I don't remember much. So I think pretty much you can guarantee that people are going to try and move the left stick, so it's not really going to give you a prompt for that. So let's try and move the sort of traditional direction. The way I was facing. Players tend to move the way their character is facing, especially when the camera's in a neutral position. And I'm just going to check, I believe here it's pretty neutral. The whole scene is pretty neutral actually. There's not too much leading other than the character direction and arguably the angle of this down here. So I want to go this way a little bit just if it seems the right way, and then just to be annoying I'm going to go back to see what's over here. So this looks pretty dangerous. I think it's pretty going to ward me off, and I imagine just to be awkward I'm going to try and... Okay, so that's pretty clear. Again, a normal player probably wouldn't do that, but what we've got here is naturally the player's looking this way, the character's leading this way, so it's all sort of facing you that way, but this obviously is just a complete reinforcement that you can't go that way. Even if you don't bump into it, it's red colour that people traditionally, associate with danger. And finally, it is a physical gate. You can't get past that, or at least it appears, difficult to get past it. So I don't expect people to pursue that much. So let's head this way. And instantly, as you get that UI feedback, you're probably, thinking that you've done something nice. So you're getting some feedback that that's probably the direction to go. I'm just messing with the controls a little bit. I love the way they've got this little grapple, which we desperately need. Like if you kind of half and half. Of course, I know I'm messing it up, but yeah, it kind of blends the sort of you nearly made it with, yeah, that's very nice. Anyway, so yeah, this is in like the top, it's probably perfectly in the rule of thirds line up the top there. In fact, I'll probably whack that on in post and have a look. So that's going to draw your eye to that location. It contrasts strongly with the background, so that's good. But again, let's be difficult and not go for that. Okay, so their approach is just big, obvious, non-diegetic UI stuff, which is completely fine. So now I'm curious, I'm going to go back up and check that thing. Okay, so here is our first gating. So you can see here that now I can't get back up here, presumably until I get double jump or something. And this just means that my area to actually explore has been reduced slightly, which is good because it means that I'm not going to spend ages thinking about going back over here, to solve any problems or navigate. I'll know that I can't. And also it lets me know that, let's see, can I, oops, I can do this. So I can reach these, but I presumably can't reach that one yet, it looks like. So even though it was there to catch my eye, it's not actually something I can use yet, which is fine. And this also looks like another sort of hard gate. Maybe I can do this. Yeah, I can, but then that looks like something I'm not going to be able to pass. Again, I'm being a bit, obtuse, more than I expect a normal player to be. But just to show you that some of these things are, softly gated, where it's like you could do it, but, it's difficult and you're unlikely. And some of them are firm gates like that. It's like you cannot do that. So basically, you're being funneled towards this with soft, subtle ways, but also, there are some harder gates. So it looks like this will stay here forever. It looks like this may be a little secret. There you go. I'm a genius. Of course, the first one is pretty much given to you. They have their hidden areas there, and it reveals each time with a sound effect. So that's cool. So I think that one is probably, again, when you come down here, the likelihood is you're facing this way, and even though the prompt comes up, there's a good chance you'll get this one, so it's trying to give you one, you know, almost for free. Anyway, let's follow the tutorial stuff a bit further. So yeah, big thing up the top, can't really miss it, and to progress you're going to have to do this. There's no other way to progress, and it looks like it will show it every time, which for the first one is probably a good idea, because the first one is the time you're most likely to forget it. Okay, so again you can see now the camera is doing a lot of work. Notice that we're right up the top of the screen now and the bottom's full of stuff. So that's highlighting some dangers for you, but also just, you know, further encouraging you to say, hey, you are definitely going the right way. Oh, and they have some like mega foreground objects as well. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to presume this water is dangerous. It looks a bit dangerous. I'm being offered platforms to jump on, so I'm going to take that because that's always fun. This doesn't look dangerous. And it's not. Okay, so again, they just gave me some UI element to tell me what it did. But I'd kind of... Well, I feel like a lot of players don't, but I kind of deliberately try not to read those things to see if the game is still passable without them. And I think it is. So this is presumably some kind of power-up, because it looks like I can't skip this, so it's mandatory for progress. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so that's an important thing to be told, and we're told that pretty early on. And again, like, at the moment the path is pretty linear, so you would have to encounter this. So I noticed with this, I'm not being forced to do that, but I will do it. So they probably expect you to be, you know, likely to do that, but again, you're not forced to, which is the way I like things to be. I do like all the way all these background and foreground elements interact as well. It's nice, makes the world feel more alive. Okay. So yeah, this is it's a good example of, so far when we've been playing the game, the only thing we've been using really is jump, and there's been a few jumps that are mandatory to reach this point. So they have, you know, a degree of confidence in your ability to jump. Yeah, there's a few here where you are absolutely forced to jump, but there's no time pressure, so you had as long as you wanted to do that. And after you've done a bunch of those, they introduced that first pressure where obviously you had to jump to avoid being attacked by that enemy. But it was pretty lenient. It had quite an obvious, you know, lead to it, so that's good. It's gradually increasing the pressure, which tends to be how you want to teach people how to do things. Oh, enforced walking. I hate enforced walking. It's my pet peeve, but hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's interesting. So I think there's some music tied to that. So again, we can look. Oh, that's interesting. So mandatory walking there, and also you can see the camera tracks to that object. Presumably it might be because there's some music synced to it or animation. Maybe not. I think so, isn't there? That's fine. Can I skip this? Again, I just like to see what I can do. No, I can't. Okay, fine. It's important, so I'll let you have it. Okay. As I said, I try not to read these things too much. Okay, well, it tells me how this works, and now it's going to make me use it. So I wouldn't have to use it there. Let's see if it enforces it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun to use, but you must assume that unless you force a player to do something, they won't have actually done it. Okay, so okay. So now I guess I'm enforced looking at the map. Fine, I can see where I am automatically. I can see where presumably it wants me to go for some reason. Again, I deliberately try to avoid the text just so I can see that it's passable at a lower level. I can see me, I can see that save point I placed, and that's it. There's my map. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, it's cool. And it's a pretty responsive map. Oh, okay, there's some toggles for things. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Understandable. And of course, already you can see I've got a percentage that I've explored, which, you know, for some people, not myself admittedly, like for some people that is a strong encouragement to keep, you know, exploring. So they do give you an objective, and presumably, oops, that was a thing on the map. I'm just going to go look at the map again. There's even like a sticky waypoint marker on the edge of my screen there, so that's very important. So they're pretty overt about what they want you to do, which is less common for a Metroidvania style game. This is the kind of thing we struggle with a little bit, deciding if that's the best thing to do or not, but hey, it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's just kind of do what it says. So, admittedly, oh look, another one of those things. So similar kind of setup to before. It's down a path you might explore, but yeah, slightly more tricky than the last one. Nice. Okay, so with those enemies, I don't know if I was forced to destroy them to progress. Maybe there was a gate up here that wouldn't have opened until I killed them. I don't know, but seemed pretty soft. So again, a gentle reminder to use the map. I don't think that's necessary. And it feels like there's some interaction between things I can attack. There is, that's cool. So you can see they glow red when I'll attack them. That's nice, and visual feedback is always nice to know what something's going to do before you press it. Okay, just see what that was like. Just being difficult, because I can be. Okay, so I see. They suggest you place that there so that you would come back and have to do this. Not going to pay too much attention to this, I'll be honest. I'm not so much a skill tree person, though I know that people like them. Okay, so I can destroy this now. And now, interestingly, again, I don't think I had to destroy that. I think I could have jumped over it. But it's in your path, and it's not the first thing you've been able to destroy, so there's probably a good chance you're going to notice it. Which is cool, because when we return further up here... Oh, new enemy type. Excuse me. So when we return up here... Right, yes. So I didn't notice it the first time. Let's just, I want to check. Aha. Okay, that's nice. So if we see here, this obviously on our way down was another hard gate, right? We couldn't return up here until we were able to use this on the way back. So again, it sort of narrowed your horizons temporarily. And it's nice because what it does on the way down, it just keeps you moving in one direction. Notice that you came down from the right and move over to the left, so you just keep going. That always feels nice and flowing. But also on the way back, now you've got two choices. You've got a branching path, so we can go up there as we discovered. But also we know we can destroy these now, so you're pretty likely to check this out. So I believe this is quick travel. Let's have a look. Next to save game. Fine. And then... Oh, okay, so it's travel point to point. So that's interesting. So this is the first one we've encountered, and again, it's not enforced. You wouldn't have to encounter this now. And it looks like that's all I can do for now. This is nice as well, because you see the way this is lit and the way it contrasts, and you've got all the god rays, or whatever you like to call them. So that thing up there looks interesting, and it's presumably a while before I get there, and so it's got some reason for me to come back and sort of, you know, anticipate what might be coming. And as I said in other videos, like, you know, motivation to, you know, keep exploring and keep finding new things is very important for these games. You've got to have things that you can't reach yet that you want to work out how to get to. If everything looks either impossible to get to, or like, you know, it's very binary, you either know that you can or you can't, it's not really very interesting. You know, you won't maintain that motivation to keep exploring. So this hard gate that existed before, we now know how to get rid of it. So that's nice. Just smash through that. I've got enough points to make another save, which is, you know, why not? I do like their save point thing a lot. I think it's very good. I think if you're a very skilled player, it allows you to differentiate by, you know, not using very many of them and progressing more quickly through the skill tree. Whereas, you know, less skilled players can have that crutch they need. And I think it also massively solves the problem of, you know, everyone's played a game where there's just a bad checkpoint. Now there can't be a bad checkpoint because you can always make your own. I wonder if they collected data on that, because it'd be lovely to feed back in. Anyway, I'm using on a different subject. So if we look here, let's have a look, see if the camera's doing anything to nudge us in one direction or another. So it's pretty neutral here. So I don't feel particularly compelled to go any way than the other than it's fun to jump and it's fun to go between platforms. Who knew, right? Here is a thing. What does this do? Opens gates. Okay. And conveniently there's a gate down here, so presumably there you go. Blah blah blah, these things do the things. So I need another one. Anyway, so you can see this is set up nicely that if I drop down here the first time, the camera, it's just maybe ever so slightly rising up here. And then you would see that there's that part of it at the top, so you'd go, okay, I need to go up and collect that. So you've got to kind of bounce, right, where you'd be like, oh, I can't get through here, so I'll go back. And all the while, these platforms at the top of the screen are always visible. And looks like we even got an angled jump towards them. Oh no, no we don't, but still, you know, it keeps them both in shot at the same time, so players backtracking, they're always going to be able to see this. So that's nicely put together. Is this one way? Just want to check. Okay, not enforced, but you know, hey, probably best not to do it. Okay, then that's interesting. So you probably only encounter this on the return. And I think it's pretty clear this opens up another path down here. So yeah, that's interesting that you... Well, maybe you would cancel out the first time, but it feels like you'd encounter that after bouncing off the door, which feels like the intention. Well, there you go. So that's nice, right? So you've got this thing here where the most likely path, I would say, is that players are either going to, you know, brush straight... Okay, I can see this. So the most likely path is that players probably see that down there, can't resist this jump up here, go across the top, feel kind of smart because they get the top stone, and then realize they need another one, right? So they get the one up here, they come to the door, and then they're literally going to bounce off the door, and on this return path, which is, you know, very stringent, they're going to go here, and they're probably going to bump straight into that stone. And then when they do, they'll unlock the thing they need. And even if you miss that and you start backtracking up here, presumably you would still see the stone under there, which is clever, right? Anyway, let's continue. Can you do this without touching it? Maybe if you're a better player than me, because I'm not very good at games. Okay. So we open that door. Nice. And we know how those work now. Oops. I was busy looking somewhere else to see where we were going to get led, and I didn't even notice I was being attacked. But again, that's my own fault. I'm sort of looking at, you know, looking in awkward places. Okay, no, this is even cleverer. I get it. So if you come down this way on the return path, you actually can't even get out this way without moving into this object. So it serves two purposes. It gets you up here. Yeah, that's clever. Anytime something, you know, has a dual purpose, it feels stronger. And I feel like when you're designing things for levels, you know, trying to get something that mechanically makes, you know, is linked to as many systems as possible and actually makes significant changes is much better than something that just does one thing. It feels so much weaker and arbitrary. Okay, so we have to do this again, which I should know, but, you know. Let's go down here. But yeah, that's nice. It's a nice reinforcement. Okay, and then yeah, that's further like reinforced with a little bit of tutorial text if you didn't notice it the first time. Come on, doors. There we go. Right, this time. Okay. So, in this case, they're being quite overt about your multiple choices, which I have kind of mixed feelings about. I feel like it's nice for there to be a degree of mystery in a game like this, but already it feels like they're more into giving you flowing platforming and sort of combat challenges rather than the exploration, you know, the getting lost as part of exploration part, so that's fine. So, okay, I've come from that place and these are my two options. So let's have a look up here. Okay, so I don't know what this is, but it's blue, so I decide it's not dangerous. But I can still hit it. Okay. Oh good, an energy shard. And this is a bigger one. Can I destroy this? Sound effects seem to indicate not. So again, adding to the thing I always come back to with these things, motivation, right? So I want to work out how to get there, and I can see just enough to know that it's possible. I can see that I can't get to it through here, but look, I can see that other path up there. And presumably the map, yeah, okay, the map just goes to black. But it adds that anticipation and motivation to proceed, right? I'm like, how am I going to get there? I want to do that. And at some point, I will come back and do that, I'm sure. How long away that is, I don't know. Hey, what's this? Looks exciting. Oh, good. I have more vitality. So this appears that I can't get up there. So again, I'm like, I can't wait to come back here and actually get up there, but it looks like I can't, so I'm going to come back down. Wow, enemies sure respawn fast, don't they? Okay, so I'll head this way then. Let's just see if this. Let's go back. I want to see when they do the transition between Spirit Caverns and whatever the hell this is. Do they only pop them once? Maybe. Go back and find out. Yeah, okay, it's like you'd have to enter and re-enter. Fine. Okay, can't do anything with that just yet. So again, it's reminding me of the dropping through thing. Notice it's been a little while since we've had one of those, but not too long. You have this sort of curve of forgetting, which we've talked about in another one of our videos, so it's good to just remind people in a non-pressured way that, hey, you can still do this, by the way. Oops. I must admit I'm missing the smaller projectiles, but that's my own fault. Okay, so things are branching a little bit here. We could just keep going down that way, which I'm aware of. Let's try that. Okay. Ah, map stone. Okay, so something to return to. Do I have anything? No, I don't. But there's one of those door things that I need, so it wasn't a wasted trip, so that's nice. Like the noises. Okay, right, so you can see, so the branch was pretty short, but that's okay. Rather than like a full branch this early on, would probably be a bit confusing for navigation. Can I get back up there? Oh, maybe I can't. So we may have been gated here again. Just going to confirm. Yeah, okay, so I would say, as a player, I would feel now that, you know, I can't go back right now. So let's see why. Why is those things? Oops. Oopsie. Okay, let's probably get back to there. I probably should have used one of those soulstone things, huh? So it's happy to make life difficult for me, which is perfectly reasonable. I should have just been better. So let's get back to where we were, shall we? Let's move our save point. Oops. Okay. So nothing too challenging enemy-wise right now. I keep thinking I have a lot more hit points than I do, but that's just my own fault. Okay, we've already seen this. I'm not a big fan of unskippable things like that. Oh, again, I missed that last time, so there's another Another motivation for the future thing. I love things like this where like you can see it. In this case, you can't see how you can get to it at all, really, other than through that water. And there's highlights of a monster we'll see in the future, so that's cool. Anyway, let's keep going. I have to say, actually, on reflection, it's kind of odd that this saying press X to insert the mapstone fragment makes me assume that I have one. I would only expect to see that prompt when I can actually do the thing. Saying that, I do really like this interaction, but I don't know, I might think that it's doing something. It feels too positive for my liking. Anyway, one little quibble there. So, let's get back to what we were doing. So we need to find another stone to progress. And that's pretty clear. Try not to get killed this time. Whoops. So again, it looks like we've been gated down into this area. Can I make a thing? No, I can't make a thing. Still charging. So we've been gated down into this area. We're not going to escape until we've got something that lets us escape. Oops. And the good thing with these, I think, is often players don't even notice that it's happened, and that's a good thing. They don't need to know that it's happened. You know, if you've designed your level well enough and players are mostly being drawn to what you want them to go to, they're probably not even going to notice that you prevented them from backtracking temporarily. But I think it's very important to do that. As I said, like temporarily you want to narrow the amount of space the player needs to think about when they're trying to work out where to go next. You know, making the problem space a bit smaller is good, so they don't just endlessly backtrack and wonder what's important and what's not. And here they're doing it relentlessly, right? Because I presume, let's just see. Can I even get out of here? Nope. So they just keep making it smaller, so you know it's clearer and clearer the way you need to go, despite the fact that there being one dominant path. And hey, you know, things like this make it pretty clear. And we do this little mandatory walk thing. I should be honest, I'm not a fan. If I want to absorb the story, I'll absorb the story. I don't think you should make people do it. But people feel differently. So this tree looks important, huh? So I'm going to do the thing it says. And sure enough, the tree was important, everyone. So you've learned wall jump. To use this ability, push the stick towards a wall and press A continuously to leap upwards. Fair enough. I guess this game doesn't use the right stick, because otherwise I'd feel like you'd label that as L. Anyway, let's have a look, shall we? Of course, I was facing this direction, so I'm going to look here, and as I approach it, I can see something interesting sort of comes into view. So let's try it. And sure enough, there you go. It's a thing. An energy cell. That sounds good. So yeah, here's a classic example of a Metroidvania gate, right? So we were stuck down here, and the only way we're able to get up here is by using our new ability, and that's using it once. And then let's have a look here. Oops, classic. Then using it twice here. And then, so we could actually skip it here, presumably, or maybe not. So using it 3 times. And then 4 times. Oops. Yeah, we're using it, you know, 4 or 5 times now. Sorry, I'm doing so bad. Our game, it works quite differently, and it's hard to unlearn the muscle memory. Anyway, so as you can see, we're using it loads of times, and you notice only on the last one is there any threat on the wall there. So, you know, they make sure you've got it before they introduce any complications. And now we can free ourselves from this gate. I presume we still can't get over here, but I could be wrong. Maybe we could do that before and I just did a bad job. But anyway, if you'd fallen down there, you were definitely stuck there for a while. But that's fine. You were stuck there until you unlocked the new ability. And then that ensures that when you get back up to the top, you understand how it works. So I'm cool with that. I love stuff in the super foreground like that. So again, even though that rock, I feel like we had to use that rock, but maybe we didn't. But they're still going to make sure you bump into this again so you're aware of it. Can I attack through it? Maybe not. Cool. Anyway, so obviously we need this to go any further. Guess we'll put down our soul link, because why not? Anyway, so let's just push this over here. So this is more of a platforming challenge. It's pretty obvious those things are dangerous. I don't really need any further information. And we use our wall run again. Sorry, our wall climb. Do I need that rock? Let's find out. Oh, I'm gonna need it, aren't I? Ah, yes, I need it because I can't get up here. Fine. Or maybe I can. I don't know. I feel like because it's there, I should try and bring it with me. That's what I'm gonna do. Oops, and I messed it up because I'm bad at video games. Does it slide? No, it doesn't slide. I presume I can push it. Cool. I'm sure there was a cleaner way to do that, but I'm going to get the job done, so leave me alone. Cool. Ah, amazing. And this is another great Metroidvania thing. So the thing that really sucks in Metroidvanias is needless backtracking. A bit of backtracking is great, especially, you know, again, like feeling like you get lost occasionally and realizing you've seen something before, fantastic. But having to do that again in reverse is kind of annoying, especially when there's an opportunity to show you something new. So I can move this now. And that does a cool thing. So interestingly with this, they want to make absolutely sure you know what it's interacted with, so they actually they move the camera over there and do a mini cutscene. Again, oh my god. Okay, as I was saying, so instead of having to backtrack for all that stuff, which might be a bit tedious, instead what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to use a new thing. And the camera's going to move over there to make sure you've done it. And again, I'm not a huge fan because the problem with stuff like that is that you're literally taking away control from the player, which is kind of frustrating, especially if they've played it before and they're playing it again. But even if they haven't, like, I already understand that this is going to do a thing and it's probably going to be over here, so it's kind of annoying that I have to wait for it. But anyway, regardless, it opens up a thing, and what it's done is made this cool path, right? So now, if I just jump down here, I believe I really should pay attention to the actual enemies rather than just the level design. I apologize. So, aha. I believe, yeah, right, so we've been to this area before, right? So the cool thing is what this has done is not only have we had sort of a shortcut back to where we were, and this is the area we're going to want to continue moving in, but also it's actually recontextualized an earlier area, because now, with the new ability we have, I presume, there you go. So now, I can get back to this location without having to go all the way around there. So that is cool. That is always a good thing to have in a Metroidvania. This is slippery when you're not used to it, but it is cool. Anyway, so I have those two map thingies. Not map thingies, the other kind of stone thingies. And now, presumably as well, if I get up here, we may have been further, like, hard gated down here without me even noticing. Let's see. Why can I... The jump is... can I get out here? Maybe I... Oh, of course I can. Of course I can. Actually, maybe I'm lying. No, I'm not. Right, there we go. So we were actually gated down in that location. We couldn't return here until we'd unlocked that ability. And now we can. So that is pretty cool. Same door unlocking animation. And yeah, I think, you know what? That is a good place to stop for now. I'm going to come over here, find my webcam. There we go. So yeah, that's the first sort of 30-40 minutes of ORI in the Blindforest. I think so far, from my experience of it, the thing that's quite interesting is, compared to some Metroidvanias, it's quite linear, and I feel like the reason they do that is they just want to focus on the flowing of the platforming. And obviously, to have fast-flowing platforming, you really need to know where you're going before you get there. With lots of Metroidvanias, when you're doing lots of backtracking and getting lost, which is part of that experience, you're not going to experience that flow of just nailing these nice platforming jumps. So I think at this stage, they're sacrificing some of that openness and providing with that linear path to let you just enjoy those mechanics, and I think that's really successful. But we can see they also do have some traditional Metroidvania things in there. They still gate you in the same way, they still present you abilities in the same way, and they have the same tricks for avoiding just backtracking all the time. So I think, yeah, it's really successful. And hey, at some point, I'd look forward to playing more of it. So anyway, I hope that's interesting, everyone. Please let me know what you thought. Let me know if you've played this game, what you thought of it, and do let us know if there's any other game in particular you'd like us to take a look at. Thank you very much for watching.